In the previous video, we left off by saying that A and B are just angles on the unit circle that lie in between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. And notice that tangent of A, as we know, tangent of A, which is equal to the tangent of the arctangent of 2, is just equal to 2, which is a positive number. So where am I going with this? So remember, A is an angle. A is an angle on the right half of the unit circle. So let's suppose that A is a negative angle. That means that we start at the point 0, 1 and travel negative A radians, or we travel A radians clockwise around the unit circle. So the angle looks something like this, and it intersects the unit circle at some point A, negative B. So it has a positive x coordinate and a negative y coordinate. Let me actually make this x, negative y, so as not to confuse with the a over here. So when we take the sine of a, this is going to be equal to negative y. When we take the cosine of a, it's going to be equal to x. So when we want to take the tangent, when we want to take the tangent of a, this is going to be equal to x over negative y, which is a negative number. But remember, tangent of A is a positive number. So this tells us that the tangent of A, or rather this tells us that A can't possibly be a negative number. It can't possibly be a negative number. So that means the following. This tells us that A has to be strictly greater than 0 and strictly less than pi over 2, and we can apply the same reasoning to conclude that B has to be strictly greater than 0 and strictly less than pi over 2. And by the way, it's strictly greater than 0. Well, suppose that the angle A was 0, then that means tangent of 0 degrees is actually equal to the sine of this point right here, this point, which is 0, 1, or rather 1, 0. 1, 0, it's not the sine of this point, it's the sine of 0 degrees is equal to the y coordinate of that point, which is 0. And the cosine of 0 degrees is equal to the x coordinate of this point, which is 1. So cosine of 0, which is equal to 1, which is equal to 1. So tangent of 0 is just 0 over 1, which is equal to 0. But we know that tangent of A is 2. So A can't possibly be 0 degrees. So check this out. We have these nice bounds on A and B. So what this tells us that A plus B is strictly less than pi over 2 plus pi over 2, which is equal to pi. And A plus B is strictly greater than 0 plus 0, which is of course equal to 0. So A plus B lies in between 0 and pi. And remember above, we determined the tangent of A plus B is equal to negative 1. So we want to determine for what angle in between 0 and pi is it true that when I take the tangent of that angle, I get negative 1. So this angle lies in the upper half of the unit circle. It lies in the upper half of the unit circle. And when I take the tangent of that angle, I'm going to get negative 1. And we know that there has to be a unique such angle, because when we restrict the tangent function, if you were to go to a graphing calculator or Desmos, and you were to restrict the tangent function to the interval from 0 to pi, then this function restricted to 0 and pi, to the interval 0, pi, is injective. An injective is just a fancy way of saying for any of these particular outputs, there's a unique number in between 0 and pi, such that when you plug in that number to tangent, it creates that output. So since negative 1 is some number up here, or rather it's going to be a negative, so it's going to be beneath the x-axis. There's a unique number in between 0 and pi such that tangent of that number is equal to negative 1. Well, what's that number? Pause the video and see if you can figure out what that number is. So I'm assuming you've had a go at it. Check this out. We know that tangent of pi over 4, when the angle pi over 4 intersects the unit circle, it creates the point square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. The angle pi over 4 intersects the unit circle at the point square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. And check this out, the angle 3 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4 intersects the unit circle at this almost the same point, except it's negative pi over 2. Excuse me, negative square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. And this tells us that the tangent of 3 pi over 4, tangent of 3 pi over 4 is equal to square root of 2 over 2 divided by negative square root of 2 over 2, which is equal to negative 1. So we found the unique angle in between 0 and pi such that the tangent of that angle is equal to negative 1. And therefore we found a plus b. We found a plus b. A plus b has to equal a plus b has to equal 3 pi over 4. A plus b is, remember, we said that a plus b is arctangent of 2 plus arctangent of 3. So we found arctangent of 1 plus arctangent of 2 plus arctangent of 3 to be pi over 4 plus 3 pi over 4, which is equal to pi. And we're done.